night. Sunshine continues as we head into the weekends. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
NBA play-in tournament, the Celtics a -155 favorite for the 7th seed in the East. The Hornets +250. Pacers +225 for the 8th seed. Hornets +250. In the West, the Lakers at +140 for the 7th seed. Warriors +175. Followed by John Rahm at +875, Jordan Spieth at +1100, Scotty Scheffler at +1600, and Daniel Berger at +1800. The latest odds for the unification bout for the undisputed heavyweight title between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua tentatively set for mid-August. Fury a -175 favorite, Joshua +145.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Followed by John Rahm at
ESPN.com.
Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott.
All right, here we go. And with that, we're off. We're running. You got it. The sun is shining, and it is another brand new live edition of Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. We are with you until 9 a.m. on what should be a fantastic day here in the Tennessee Valley. Get on out, enjoy the outside, outdoors, enjoy the day. Should be a fantastic day. Should be a fantastic show this morning, as well as you make your way into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Thursday morning. We appreciate you for being with us today. As always, though, we welcome your opinions, your thoughts, your concerns, anything that you have. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get a hold of us pretty much all morning if you have something weighing on your mind. We have got a lot of stuff to get through today. It's going to be a fun, fast-moving 2 hours, as always. We've got to talk some high school baseball. Semifinal play going on last night. When we were doing the show yesterday, we looked outside, and it was just kind of cool. It was breezy, a lot of clouds. It just didn't really feel like it was going to turn into a fantastic day. But as the day progressed, the sun came out. What a fantastic evening it was for high school baseball in the Tennessee Valley. And you were treated to some fantastic games. We'll recap Madison Academy, Russellville, Mars Hill Bible. We've got some high school baseball. We'll recap all of that coming up here in just a little bit. The Atlanta Braves are going to, they just don't want to play the Toronto Blue Jays right now because the Toronto Blue Jays this year have the Atlanta Braves number. And the Braves stumbled once again yesterday to Toronto. We'll talk about that. We've got to talk about the SEC softball tournament. It was plenty of play on yesterday. So the brackets now in the quarterfinals are all set. We'll let you know who plays when, who plays what. The Rocket City Trash Pandas cross another first off their list. This one actually means something. We'll fill you in. From the college football ranks, we're going to hear from Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel today. He's going to talk about the offense and, what kind of offense will we see from Tennessee? And Josh Heupel talks about that. A lot of it depends on the quarterback. We'll hear from Josh Heupel, and he also has a message for Vols fans when it comes to, the past the struggles, the expectations. We will hear a couple little clips from Josh Heupel coming up here as the show goes on. Rush Probst is back in the headlines again. Wait till we fill you in on the latest because it's worth a chuckle. The Pac-12 has their new commissioner, and no, it's not Greg Byrne. But hopefully as the show moves on, we will know exactly who it is. We'll fill you in on the latest because, we don't ever really get to talk the Pac-12 because really when it comes to a lot of it, they're irrelevant. So, well, why not? Auburn has been pursuing LSU transfer quarterback TJ Finley. So Keith Niebuhr will join the show. He'll fill us in on that and some other big recruiting news when it comes to the Auburn Tigers. Like I said, we've got a lot of stuff to get through this morning. We've talked Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State for that way too early national championship because it's still way too early. I mean, we're only in May. We haven't even gotten to SEC Media Days where the fire really starts to build, and then you get to camp, and then you get to September and the games and all that other stuff. So really, it is still the way too early expectation train. But that's what we're supposed to do between now and the season. Create those expectations, talk the narrative, and go through it. We've talked Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State. Remember yesterday we went over the odds to win the national championship. Alabama the favorite, Clemson a close second. Of course, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M, LSU, all those schools were the top 8 in getting national championship odds. But right now, in May, okay, not September, October, but this is May. Is there a team that you think, as you're driving around this morning or listening to us while you're eating breakfast via the app, is there a team right now in May that you can pencil in, not put it in ink, but you could pencil in and say, I like them. I think this team could be that team to surprise someone. Somebody that we're not even mentioning. A team that we're not even talking about. A team that we haven't even said a word about. Is there a team that you want to put in to the way too early expectation train to give them a seat on the train right now? 256-576-4977. Is there that team out there that we should, that you think, okay, let me go ahead and put them on this train? Could it be in Oregon? Could it be, Penn State last year was that team that everybody was talking about? Could it be somebody in the Big Ten? Could it be somebody in the Big 12? Could it be someone outside of the 4 or 5 in the SEC that we've mentioned? Probably not. But that's why I'm asking. Is there that one team right now in May that you want to say, okay, we have not mentioned you at all? I'm going to put you on the expectation train for this coming football season.
Well, it's not for a conference championship, but it's to be a lot better because I think the roster has almost 50%. I'd say it's very close to that has turned over, and it's in the Little 10. But I'm, I'm going to say Michigan State and Mel Tucker.
Okay.
He's been one of the most aggressive guys in the portal, and they got Quavarius Crouch. I mean, they have been just super aggressive, and he beat Michigan last year. It's not like he didn't have any bright moments in that pathetic season where it was completely butchered. But I just really think when you think about Michigan State, I think they could be a sleeper in the Big Ten. And what I mean by that is a team that maybe could go 8-4 and go to a bowl game.
Be a real big thorn in somebody's side
exactly.
with 8 wins.
No doubt about it.
What about a team like Maryland with Mike Loxley?
Yeah,
and
that's another Big Ten team that could be, because Talia was playing well at times last year. So,
took his lumps.
There could be. I don't know enough about how they're going to be defensively. And with Mel Tucker, he's a defensive coach.
Right.
And I think they'll be better, no doubt about it. But, I'm going to be really interested to see, how much better Mel Tucker is, because he was starting to make some, inroads in recruiting in Colorado when he took that over. So that one kind of makes me go and think that absolutely.
Let's give them a seat on the train just because.
Well, I just think they could be a team that could be a thorn in the side of many.
What about in the SEC? Is there somebody that we're not mentioning right now? I mean, because like I said, we're way too early. This is May. We're not even to SEC media days yet. I mean, that's when the fire really starts to burn. But outside of the ones that we talk about all the time, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Florida, is there Texas A&M, is there someone in the SEC that you might sit there and you're really intrigued about going into the new year to see if they can get maybe that 8 wins, 9 wins this year, because the path for them is there?
Don't run off the road,
Jason.
But Kentucky, if these offensive changes and if they can throw the football more effectively, I know they lost 6 guys to the NFL draft, but I think they've recruited well. We've already had Jake Crane from the J-Boy Show, who we featured several times.
Yeah.
He put out, his way too early predictions. He's got Kentucky second in the East. So I think Kentucky could maybe have a chance to get back to that 10-win plateau if the quarterback and the offense gel, because we know they've made a lot of changes. Matter of fact, I don't think Kentucky had an open spring game. I think Coach Stoops is kind of trying to keep all this on the down low until people see him in September.
All right. Jason is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Jason.
Hey, good morning, fellas. I'll give you a team that plays in what used to be a good conference, but plays in a bad conference right now. But with a senior class, Iowa State, if they could possibly knock off Oklahoma, it might be your prize thing.
Oh, Iowa State, yeah. Thrilling. That's a thrill to Scott there. But Matt Campbell and Iowa State, they're
getting a lot of attention right now. Though.
They're actually going to be, I think, in most people's top 10.
Yeah,
because you got your tailback back, who was a great player. You got your quarterback in Brock Purdy, so they've got a lot of pieces back. It's just going to depend on how good they are defensively. But Iowa State, are they just keeping the seat warm for the next coach at Michigan? I don't know. I was asked this question the other day about Bill O'Brien. Would he be a one and done? If Alabama if everything went perfectly and Bryce Young was tremendous and Alabama repeated as national champion and went 15-0, I could see Bill O'Brien being a one and done. I could see Bill O'Brien being on the short list at Michigan because of what he did at Penn State.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
If Bryce Young has a good year, I think Bill O'Brien will be there for 2.
I do too, Jason. That's what I lean toward. But look, I thought Sark would be back for a 3rd, and Texas hired him. And I didn't think Tom Herman was in that much trouble yet. And then Texas, they tried to go get Urban Meyer. We understand that. But then once they struck out there, they went out and got the hottest coordinator, which is Sark. So you never know.
Yeah, and I think Sark's going to regret that. I understand why he took it, but I think he might have waited one more year. The Michigan job would probably be a little bit better job because Texas is run by their boosters. So that's not the job you think it would be.
Right.
That's a train wreck.
It has been for since Mac Brown left, that's for sure.
Yes.
Right. All right. Y'all have a good morning.
Thanks, Jason. So 576-4977. Jason says Iowa State. You've gone with Michigan State. Is there a team out there that you say, hey, you know what, maybe, gosh, I'm going to put them in there because I have feeling that they could be 8-9 wins, be a thorn in the side, come close to getting into that playoffs. Maybe not get there, maybe not win the national championship, but maybe could get there. That's how we get you started this morning. 256-576-4977.
And I'm not on the Mississippi State train. No disrespect. I know we have a lot of state grads even in this building.
And ESPN FPI puts them inside the top 10.
I can't buy that yet. I'll have to. I do think Leach is going to turn it around. I've been on the record as saying that, and they're going to win some games. But I'm not ready to put them in the upper echelon of the SEC West.
What about this? What if their defense it has to improve so much. So I mean, we're talking 180 degrees. But what about Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin? They return a veteran quarterback. They do have some weapons. The offense style, Lane Kiffin's a great play caller. Could Ole Miss be that team that maybe gets there?
Possibly, but I think Lane is, he's so polarizing, and he certainly surprised some people last year with how well Corral played. Okay,
right?
How he improved them, but until they can tackle and understand that they're not in the Big 12 and stop somebody, I'm a little skeptical of it. I'm
not saying their defense has to go so much.
They've got their tailbacks back. Both of them are really good players. They've got some pieces on the O-line back, but they lost Yeboah. They lost Elijah Moore. I mean, I'll say this: they haven't been as aggressive in the transfer portal, but I do think that they can be a thorn in the side. But I'm still not ready to put them in the upper division either. Not yet. And then with Lane, he as a head coach, he went 7-6 in 1 year at Tennessee, and then last year played Alabama off their feet. They played exceptionally well, but if you go back and look at it, Scott, to me, they didn't really beat anybody they weren't supposed to, in my opinion.
Okay.
They were. I know some people thought they were going to, and they were better. And what I mean is, they didn't beat Alabama. They played them a good game. They
won the ones they were supposed to, but couldn't climb.
They didn't beat Texas A&M.
Right.
They did. They didn't play as well, and of course in some of the games. I mean, they beat Mississippi State, but that was a rough first year under Mike Leach, and really that was if you can beat Mississippi State, that goes a long way at Ole Miss. It really does. But to me, they didn't just like they didn't rise up from the other division and beat a Florida, or they didn't beat a Georgia. I remember when Hugh Freeze was there one year, they beat Kirby like a rented mule. They could have scored 85 points. It was a beautiful game, actually. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching Kirby get embarrassed. Everybody understands that. But it's just I thought that really Lane got a lot of mileage off scoring a lot of points against Alabama.
Right.
And scaring the daylights out of Alabama. But they still lost by 2 touchdowns. I mean, then they laid a turd in Fayetteville.
True.
I mean,
5 interceptions.
I'm anxious to see how much better Pittman's team is. I don't think the Hogs will be in the upper division, but with a whole off season, how much better are they? And he kept his coaches for the most part. Now he tweaked the staff a little bit. But what I mean by that is he kept his coordinators. He kept Bryles, he kept Barry Odom, so they've got those guys in place. And now they did lose a wide receiver to the portal, Woods, went to Oklahoma, but still, I think that Arkansas is another intriguing team with KJ Jefferson, and how good a quarterback is he going to be? I think they really played well early. Arkansas did. Remember, they were scaring the daylights out of Georgia at halftime when one of the future first-round picks, who's now at Temple, couldn't get past midfield for the Georgia offense. But and they threw a long touchdown pass, and for a while were squaring the game at home against the Dogs. But I just wonder, how much better they're going to be as well. They're intriguing to me. And now Lane's not going to sneak up on anybody, man. Everybody knows he's a great offensive mind.
That's true.
And Ole Miss is really good. So, to me, I want to see how much better Leach is at Mississippi State. I want to see, where they're getting some hype. How much better are they truly? I'm watching Kentucky. I'm watching, Arkansas. Those are the teams, to me, that I'm interested in. And in a way, Auburn. Auburn had a winning season and went to a bowl. But, they were – what is their offense going to look like? And then Derek Mason's very familiar with the SEC defensively and with the pieces they've added. How good are they going to be defensively? And they added a big piece, literally and figuratively, that we'll talk to Keith Niebuhr about later in the show.
And they're also in pursuit of former LSU quarterback TJ Finley.
Isn't that ironic?
As well. So we got a lot to talk about with Keith, but we need to get our first break in because when we come back, we're going to flip it to local, and we're going to talk high school basketball and meet one of the newest coaches in the area. Not coaching-wise new face, new place.
Justin.
Yes, very good. What was that, Ray?
Justin.
Did not know. Okay, Justin's been okay. Thanks, Justin. Let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline and get to Justin. Good morning, Justin.
What's up, man?
Morning, guys.
How are you? Doing well.
I walked to the gas station, so I didn't catch all of the rest of the college football talk about teams. I don't even know if this team was mentioned, but
right.
There's one team. The one team I'm looking at that possibly may make some noise, and of course I don't think they played a weak conference as well. It's a very down conference, but all they got to really do is win one game, and they've got a lot of people back, and according to Vegas, I think they've got an outside shot to make the playoff. Don't necessarily think they'll win it, but I'm going with USC.
Well, I thought about them. They've had a good recruiting year, but there's been so much conversation about Clay Helton. But that's going to be interesting to see how much better they are.
I would say the expectations for them should be high, just because it's USC. Yeah.
No question.
I know that they don't return a lot of their offensive line, but their skill guys are as good as about anybody, really. I mean, with the exception of probably, Alabama and Clemson and, most of the top 5 teams in the country. But USC always has skill guys, and they're always going to have speed. And really, if they just beat Oregon, they can get there with one loss just because their schedule.
Yeah, they open up with San Jose State, does USC.
Yep.
And then it's Stanford, Washington State, Oregon State, Colorado, Utah, Notre Dame, middle of the schedule, and then Arizona State, Cal, UCLA, and then BYU. They close with BYU. That's the USC schedule this year. So
it's just for me. And then B. Rich sent us in Arizona State. He's a closet Sun Devil, and we know that they've made some waves as well under one of our favorite people, Herman Edwards. But it's just so difficult because we never see them. So
I know,
they're on the West Coast, so you don't see how good these guys are. And then they didn't play till November, because of amazing leadership and decision making by their now fired commissioner and the rest of the idiots out there. But anyway, but it just you don't really know. I know they've got a good young quarterback. I know they've got. His coaching staff is a who's who of NFL people. Antonio Pierce is defensive coordinator
at Arizona State.
Yes, at Arizona State. He's got so much NFL experience on that staff. They could definitely be. I'm definitely going to be watching them much closer this year and trying to see really how good they are because they took themselves really out of the conversation last year.
Well, USC and Arizona State will play November 6th.
Late in the season.
So that could be an interesting ball game.
Mm-hmm.
That Notre Dame game, if USC were to lose one game in conference and beat Notre Dame, I think they can stick in the playoff. I don't think they'll win it. I honestly think they have a chance of winning it. But,
I think Clay Helton should thank his lucky stars he didn't have to play Alabama last year because it would have been a massacre.
And one more thing, I'll get off the phone after this. But you guys were talking the other day about you were talking about the expansion of the playoff. Are they talking about 6 or 8 teams?
I would think, Justin, it's going to be 8.
Here's my thing about all these teams that want to expand it to 8, and I heard part of the conversation you guys were talking about. But here's the thing: the way I look at it from Alabama and Clemson standpoint, per se, I'm just going to go ahead and tell everybody that wants 8 teams in the playoff. If Alabama and Clemson were to, slip up, lose 2 ball games, go 10-2, guess what? They're probably going to be number 7 or number 8.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question about that.
And nobody's going to want that.
No, I mean, it's definitely not the higher seeds are not going to want it, but the SEC is still going to have a really good shot to get the 3 teams in and make people's heads explode.
Well, this past year, Alabama would have made it. If you had expanded the playoffs, Alabama would have made it, and Florida would have made it, and Texas A&M would have made it. You would have had 3 teams in the playoffs. If you had expanded it to 8, it would have been Alabama, Florida, and Texas A&M this year in the playoffs.
And who's not in it? 1980.
Georgia.
And, you know, that's just, you know, that's the thing. I mean, and I'm just saying that if Alabama and Clemson were to have a down year.
Yeah.
A down year for Alabama and Clemson right now is 10-2. So,
you're right on.
You know,
you're right.
That's everybody that wants the expansion of the playoff. You're still probably going to get Alabama and Clemson.
Well, before you go, Justin, what is there gas out there?
Oh, man. We're low. We're low. I just stopped at the gas station, and there was nobody there. I felt so bad for that attendant. Her day probably goes by so slow she can't swim.
Oh, man. All right, Justin, thanks for the call, but we are up against the break.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, man. Yeah, let's get that break in. And Patrick Harding joins us next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. We've got inbound traffic building steadily all across the valley. So far, it looks like a pretty good ride in. We're not finding any wrecks or stalls or traffic signal problems. You be careful. Try to get out that door early if you can. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye, Skywatch Traffic Center.
You know it, and I know it. Sometimes a brand new car or truck just isn't in the budget. That's where we come in. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I want to talk to you about the advantages of buying a Ford Gold certified used car or truck. These are low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. A 12-month, 12,000-mile comprehensive limited warranty and a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Woody Anderson Ford Gold certified vehicles have passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance too. You'll also get a Carfax vehicle history report and 22,000 Ford Pass reward points to use for future scheduled maintenance or other accessories. Plus, before you leave in your Gold certified used car, we'll be sure to give you a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change, even new wiper blades. Gold certified vehicles at Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Here's a list of what we have. The Crimson Tide Sports Network, the Atlanta Braves Radio Network, Madison Academy Football, UAH Basketball, the SEC Radio Network, the College Football National Championship Game, the SEC Football Championship Game, NBA Playoffs, MLB Playoffs, and that's just the starting lineup. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That fact is important for you to know.
Spring has sprung with a hint of summer right around the corner. And with all the travel restrictions easing up, now is the time to consider the Lodge at Guntersville State Park for a quick, relaxing getaway. At the Lodge at Guntersville State Park, all the rooms are routinely disinfected and cleaned to the highest standard. And views across Guntersville Lake are as gorgeous as ever. It's been too long, all cooped up at home. Make plans now to spend a weekend at the Lodge or cabins or campgrounds of Guntersville State Park today. Visit alapark.com for more information.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN.
Patrick is ready. Mike's on.
All right, welcome back to Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The sun is shining on this Thursday. We appreciate you for being with us today. As always, we'll be with you until 9 a.m. today. A lot of great college football talk there in that first segment, but we're going to change the script just a little bit now as we move our way into high school basketball. I know high school basketball doesn't start for a few months, but we got some new faces and new places. And we want to kind of share those with you.
Yes, we do. And it's a gentleman that's been with us when he brought his team recently to the Huntsville City Classic. He's the all-time winningest coach in Albertville Aggie history, spending 24 years at the school. He's also been the head basketball coach at Douglas and his alma mater, DAR. He and his father also great players for the DAR Patriots during his prep days. And he's been an outstanding coach and teacher. He built the Aggies into the most consistent program in Marshall County, winning 9 Marshall County tournament titles, winning numerous area championships, going to regionals numerous times. They were just the picture of consistency. But now he is going to come to our community. Really, he's been in North Alabama, as we said, but going to be in our bubble now in Madison County as the new head coach of the Buckhorn Bucks, a program that's won a couple of state championships in their own right. And have a lot of tradition, and now they're coming off of a 24-win season themselves, so he's going to try to continue the climb and the resurgence of Buckhorn basketball, and that is Patrick Harding, who's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, it's going to take me a little while to get used to saying that, but good morning. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on. And Coach, I know it had to be an emotional one for you and your family. Your sons, Dylan and Dane, big part of the future with Coach Schulman and UAH basketball, but they were a big part of your program at Albertville as well. It had to be a difficult decision to decide to leave and come to Buckhorn.
Yeah, well, it was. Albertville's home to us. It'll always be home to us. We spent a lot of time here and raised our kids here. The community's been unbelievably supportive of our family and the program over the years, and it certainly was bittersweet. Got a lot of great memories here, and we have a lot of friends and church. So it definitely was a hard move to make, but we're excited about coming to New Market and starting a program over there.
Yeah, you make that move to Buckhorn, and as you mentioned, I mean, Albertville and you guys, I mean, it would take a special move to make that happen. So what was it special about Buckhorn that made it intriguing enough to leave a place where you have so many memories and deep ties to?
Well, it's interesting. My wife is a educator as well, and she's retiring this year. And so we thought we might both retire and maybe look in Tennessee, somewhere along the interstate where we could still get back down and watch games in Huntsville. And that just never happened for us. And so about that time, the Buckhorn job came open, and I thought, well, if we were going to move anyway, let's see about this job, because it is a job with great basketball tradition. It's close to Huntsville, where we've always wanted to live, and are looking forward to moving over there. I was just really impressed with Mr. Markham, the principal, and Mr. Carroll, the athletic director, where I met with them. And the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. And since I've been over there for 2 or 3 weeks working with the kids, I like it more and more every day.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And Coach Mark Blevins, who joined us, before their playoff run, he did a really nice job of kind of reestablishing the Buckhorn brand and getting their program to number 1 in the state a couple of years ago, Coach. So there's already been some successful I guess, culture created. I know you'll put your own stamp on it, but certainly a program that's in pretty good shape as you take it over.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's got a lot of pieces in place for it to be successful there. The kids are really disciplined and are eager to learn and willing to embrace maybe a bit of a new style. But yeah, it's a great job, and Coach Blevins made it a better job. From when he came there 5 years ago.
Yeah, and you come in and you walk into a Buckhorn squad, and I'm sure you've probably had a chance to meet some of the kids and kind of introduce yourself, but there is some talent returning to that Buckhorn squad as well.
Yeah, so they have 6 or 7 guys back from last year's team. They graduated 4 kids that probably scored about 85% of the points last year. So the guys we have back are guys that were playing more of a limited role last year than we're going to ask them to play this year. We have 2 seniors coming back, Trent Barnes and Julian Bradford, who are probably in their top 6, along with Carter Molares. And but we have a lot to work on because Buckhorn lost a lot of scoring. So goals are going to be changing. We're going to be asking kids to do more offensively than they've done in the past. And that's going to take some time.
Well, and Coach, to circle back really quickly, we'll delve a little bit further into the Buckhorn situation, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. I know you've had a little bit of time to reflect as you've been at your new place for about 3 weeks now. What are your underlying memories and favorite, parts of your journey at Albertville? Because I mean, it's as your departing AD said as you were leaving Albertville, it's really, you don't see it too often when a coach stays at a place for 24 years, and so obviously there was a lot of special people there. You were able to run the program the way you wanted to. But just talk about being able to win 500 games and be the all-time winningest coach at a place like that.
Yeah, the longevity of being here is something that no coach expects when they take a job. I'd been a coach at Douglas for 3 years and DAR for 4 years. Ended up being here 24, and so something that anyone expects when they take the job. I had a lot of help. We had great administrators who supported what we were doing and put up a lot of my mistakes as I was learning and growing to be a teacher and a coach. I think a big challenge for basketball coaches today in our area in the South is just football is such an animal, monster, and basketball is never going to be as big a sport in Alabama as football is. But we had administrators here who made sure that basketball had their time with the kids, that basketball had their place of prominence here, and made sure that we had all the resources we need, the coaches we need. I had a large say in who was coaching at middle school and what they did and what their schedule looked like. And all of those things I think are necessary in a community the size of Albertville and Buckhorn for that matter, to make it, a better job and a better situation and one where the kids can be successful. Being able to coach my kids here and their friends is a very special time. It can be challenging coaching your kids. I think we probably handle that as well as could be expected at home, and not being able not to talk basketball so much at home. But my time in Albertville is just great memories, and I appreciate so much the people and the coaches and the players who help us be successful.
Yeah, having all that and going through all that for so many years, I can only imagine how hard it was, though, to say, hey, we're moving on to Buckhorn.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. That meeting to talk to the kids. We've got kids here that have played on a program for 5 years, senior year. And I'm sure this is not something that they were expecting. We've got kids who've been on the varsity since ninth grade that, we've grown really close to as a family. So that made it very difficult. You grow really close to the kids, and so it's a very emotional time. It still is.
Yeah, no question about that. And Coach, now to circle back, the one thing is what I've heard is that you're inheriting some talent, but also the middle school program has got some outstanding young players. So, and you talked about the culture you were able to build at Albertville, and then and that's a key, setting up the middle school program to where they have expectations, and they coach a certain way, and a lot of times where there's a lot where if you have similar systems put in, there's not as much adjustment when they get to the high school level. That's got to be kind of the exciting challenge of this at Buckhorn, because I think some of the tools are there for you to be successful and to be successful right away, but also in the immediate future as well.
Absolutely, there is a lot of talent in the younger grades at Buckhorn. I've been able to see 2 or 3, and Coach Willis, who is a middle school coach there, has done a great job with them, and has been able to hook me up with 2 or 3 of them to come over and play at the high school some in the afternoon and the last period of the day. I'm really encouraged by what I see. We have some kids that are ultra talented, and I think basketball fans in our area are going to hear a lot about these young men moving forward, because they really have a lot of ability, and I think maybe I can help and enhance some of that as we move forward. And I'm excited about trying to implement a program, 7 through 12, and even in some of the youth grades, and try to incorporate what we did here at the middle school level, because it did give us an advantage when we were able to learn a style of play, our terminology, and try to install a culture or build a culture when you're able to start doing it in 7th grade as opposed to 9th grade.
Mm-hmm. And Coach, in the last few minutes with you, but one thing I was very impressed with when I watched your teams play is you had a large staff with you at Albertville that I thought did a really good job. Everybody seemed to the roles were defined with your coaches on the bench, and I know you're going to try to build the same thing. Talk about the staff you're going to try. I know you're probably still in the middle of putting that together, but I know the challenge is going to be to put together a similar type staff at Buckhorn.
Well, Drew, I appreciate you saying that, because I think that was part of our secret sauce here, to be honest. The middle school program was very important here at Albertville, and I say here because I'm in classroom in Albertville this morning. But those guys were crucial in us kind of growing and getting better each year. We were able to hire coaches who aren't traditional educators and come in and be assistants, and everybody had a role and kind of embraced the role, and I appreciated that. They're really a selfless group, and just really worked hard and served kids every day, and that's what we're going to try to do at Buckhorn. Right now, Coach Willis at the 7th grade it has helped. We're in the process of hiring 2 or 3 more coaches. Coach Watkins, who was the JV coach there last year, has been great in the transition and helping me learn the kids and learn the school. I appreciate him so much for that. We have some openings on the staff, and as jobs get posted, I've got a lot of guys who are anxious to come over and interview. So I'm optimistic that we can put together a really good staff. I would love for it to be now, but I just know as part of the transition, that's not always you're not going to get what you wanted exactly when you want it. Mm-hmm. But I do think we've got a chance to put together a really, really good staff, and I'm excited about getting those guys together in June and July when we're able to do that.
No question.
Yeah. And I'm sure you got summer playing dates to look forward to this summer.
Yep.
Yeah. We're able to play 3 weeks in June, so we've got trips planned to UAH, Alabama, Lipscomb University. We're going to do a local play date in Huntsville, and maybe one at Hartselle, and I'm looking for one more. Trying to get some dates where we are taking all 3 teams. I think it's crucial now that we we try to get our freshman and JV games with the high school team as well. I think that will help in kind of building a culture. And there's going to be some events that we just take the varsity to. But we're going to try to get our freshmen and JV at a lot of those events as well.
Final question for me, Coach, before we wrap it up. Is your schedule for the in November and in the fall into the winter, your school schedule, is it set yet, or you still got to finish it?
You talking about the game schedule?
Yes, for the game schedule.
Yeah. We're pretty much set. Coach Clemens, our girls coach, has put that together for us, and we've added a game or two recently. But I think it's pretty much set. We've got a couple of dates that if we can find a common school that has that date open, we'll fill that. We're gonna participate in the Into Hoops tournament that Coach Teague puts together at Bob Jones. We're gonna participate in that in Thanksgiving. And when we got the job, I called Coach Stapler and asked if we could play in the Huntsville City Classic, and he agreed to let us come. We appreciate that. So I think that's going to be really exciting for the kids to be able to play in that. It's going to be great competition, and I hope make a good showing there. Those are two things I think kind of highlight our schedules, be able to play in those two tournaments locally, and also looking at the possibility of playing in a Martin Luther King Day event as well.
It's all great stuff, and we're really glad Buckhorn's going to be back in the Classic and also in the Into Hoops. I've been a big part of both those tournaments. So, coaches, welcome to Madison County. I mean, it's bittersweet that you won't be at Albertville, but we're really excited about what you can do at Buckhorn. Congratulations on the move with you and your family, and thank you for joining us and talking some Bucks basketball this morning.
True, Scott. Thank you guys for having me for what you do for high school athletics.
Thank you, Coach Harding, with us, the newest member of the Buckhorn Buck coaching family.
Well, yes, it is, and we know it's been a while since Buckhorn's been in the Classic, Scott. And, and it's great to have them back. They got a lot of good young players. Coach is going to do a great job there. I think Coach Blevins did a great job rebuilding it. They did lose Nylan Thomas and some other really good seniors. He talked about Thomas is going to UAH to play with his sons. So it's going to be an exciting time, though. I'm excited for the opportunity for Coach Harding.
All right, let's get a break in. We're behind. Let's get a break in real fast.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. We've got inbound traffic building steadily all across the valley. So far, it looks like a pretty good ride in. We're not finding any wrecks or stalls or traffic signal problems. You be careful. Try to get out that door early if you can. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye, Skywatch Traffic Center.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Tender's Chicken is kicking. Tender's Chicken is fresh, never frozen, and hand-battered and stored. Tender's Chicken and fries are fried in totally trans-fat-free oil. Try the Big Daddy with 6 Tender's fries, slaw, garlic bread, and Tender's famous dipping sauce. Tender's is salad, wings, grilled chicken sandwiches, and more. Tender's Wind Drive just off University, Holmes Avenue 5 Points, Madison Street next to the hospital, and on Madison Boulevard, Madison. Or skip the line and order online at tenderschicken.com.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. 256-576-4977.
Hold it.
That's 256-576-4977.
All right, about 5 minutes, my son.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Great conversation there with Patrick Harding, new head basketball coach at Buckhorn. And since we wrapped up a little bit there with some high school, let's stay with the high school ranks. Semifinal baseball yesterday on the Diamond. Drew, when we got in here yesterday to do the show, the weather was like, It was like one of those days where for baseball. It ended up being a fantastic night for baseball. And we're going to get another night of fantastic baseball because we got a couple game 3s in our area. And we got game 1s going on as well. But Madison Academy, Russellville lived up to the billing.
It certainly did. It was a 6-4 Russellville Golden Tigers win in game 1 as Russellville scored 2 runs late to get that win. They led 4-0, but Madison Academy came back to tie it at 4 before falling in game 1. And then Avery Seton and the Mustangs went to work in the second game, building a 6-1 lead at one time, Scott. And then going on to win it 9-4. Avery Seton pitching 4+ innings into the 5th inning. Also had 2 big hits. The lineup, they hit up and down the lineup. Russellville had to use 3 pitchers. 9-4 Mustangs win, Scott. And now at 5:30 this evening, over at the Mustang Field, Mike Good Field, at Madison Academy's ballpark, they will play the winner-take-all game in 5A in the semifinals to get to Montgomery. What an atmosphere over there it was yesterday. I'm just telling you right now, standing room only, literally. It was packed. They brought in extra bleachers, but Russellville brought a huge crowd. Madison Academy turned out. It's what high school athletics is all about. And it was really cool to be over there last night. And it was a little chilly by the end of the game, but still some great energy, some great atmosphere. Saw Coach David Sharp over there from the Alabama Prep Baseball Report, does a great job. And, I was joking with him that he's running more now than when he coached. Doing a great job. If you check
he
out,
never ran a lot when he coached.
Well, you just check out his Twitter accounts. You're going to see a lot of video. You're going to see a lot of pictures. You're going to see a lot of stats and scores. He and his son Austin Sharp do a great job keeping everybody aware of the entire state, but of baseball and prep baseball in Alabama. And so it was great to be out there last night and see some good young talent. To see the Mustangs and David Presley, even it out against Coach Chris Heaps. Those two teams are evenly matched and should be one heck of a game tonight at 5:30. Hey, I won't be able to be there. I'm going to be sitting in for Steve Moulton hosting the drive from Baumhauer's tonight as he's got another commitment he's got to take care of. But going to be out there with Wes, but certainly I'll be keeping up through social media. Craig Thomas, our good friend from the Times Daily, was out there, I believe, yesterday, and I probably will return tonight. But certainly an outstanding matchup And then Mars Hill Bible also with Westbrook Christian, they're going to game 3.
Yeah, Westbrook Christian's a phenomenal team, and Mars Hill took game 1 5-2. Westbrook Christian took game 2 8-0. So that one's today at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
So you got that one. And then, Drew, tonight, though, starts the Hartzell-Chelsea series in Hartzell. First pitch for that one is 4 o'clock for game 1. And then in Class 7A, Florence is at Hoover tonight. Game 1 is tonight at 4:30 there for Florence. So,
and then the second game, and then an F game potentially
on Friday.
Yeah.
Right. So the other 7A series doesn't start till tomorrow, but Florence and Hoover getting
and then
started
on the
today.
other side of the 5A bracket, it started yesterday too, due to the being on Monday. Pike Road and St. Paul's Episcopal split.
Yeah, they did. Pike Road took game 1 9-5. St. Paul's rebounded to take game 2 5-4. So Madison Academy and Russellville will take the winner of Pike Road, St. Paul's Episcopal. Their game 3 is today at 4 p.m. They're playing that at Hank Aaron Stadium down there in Mobile. So that is
Hammer built.
Yeah, well, since no one's using it right now because the Trash Pandas are here.
And they won!
Ding, ding, ding.
There you go. Perfect segue.
They got to win. They just crossed another first off their list last night. They got to win. Courtesy of a 2-run home run from Michael Stefanik in the bottom of the 8th inning. That put the Trash Pandas ahead 6-4. I still want to say the Stars.
Yeah.
I still want to say the Stars. It's hard. Put the Trash Pandas up 6-4. They would go on to win 6-4 last night. Their first win at Toyota Field. Same two teams will crank it up tonight, 6:35 out there in Madison. Toyota Field, Rocket City Trash Pandas, Tennessee Smokies. That'll be tonight out there. So if you haven't seen a game yet, you've had 2 chances. If you haven't seen one, you got your 3rd chance tonight, and there'll be plenty more. But go on out there and watch them play. They got their first win of the season. Hour 1 is just about in the books.
Man, you almost sound like Bob Uecker there. Just a bit outside.
Ball 4.
Yeah.
Ball 8. Can't believe they're laying off pitches this close. But anyway, we're about done with hour number 1. When we come back with hour number 2, Drew, we're going to hear from Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
The Tennessee head coach was on a national show and talked a little bit, had a message for the Tennessee fans, and also had a message for about what he's going to do for the offense and just how different it's going to look from spring to fall because of who's going to be a quarterback. Doesn't say who's going to be a quarterback, but just tells you how different it's going to be. Rush Probst is in the headlines again.
Like Rasputin.
I don't believe this. I mean, when I read this, when I read this morning, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. There is no way this can happen. No way this can happen. I'll let you guys decide if this can happen. When we come back.
Movie.
All right. Hour 2 will begin after this.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. We've got inbound traffic building steadily all across the valley. So far, it looks like a pretty good ride in. We're not finding any wrecks or stalls or traffic signal problems. You be careful. Try to get out that door early if you can. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye, Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Plenty of sunshine this afternoon, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a warm day across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures only climbing into the mid-upper 60s. Some of us will be lucky enough to see the lower 70s, but that's still significantly below where we should be this time of year, dropping into the low and mid-40s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine as we close out the work week. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s, dropping into the lower 50s overnight. Sunshine continues as we head into the weekends. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert. The AT&T Byron Nelson teeing off today. Bryson DeChambeau now the favorite, plus 850, followed by John Rahm at plus 875, Jordan Spieth at plus 1100, Scotty Scheffler at plus 1600, and Daniel Berger at plus 1800. The latest odds for the unification bout for the undisputed heavyweight title between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua tentatively set for mid-August. Fury a minus 175 favorite, Joshua plus 145. NBA play-in tournament, the Celtics a minus 155 favorite for the 7th seed in the East, the Hornets plus 250, Pacers plus 225 for the 8th seed, Hornets plus 250. In the West, the Lakers at plus 140 for the 7th seed, Warriors plus 175 for the 8th seed, the Grizzlies plus 220, Warriors plus 230. I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-49. Scott and Drew.
Mike's on. Here we go.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Talking Ball here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. As always, this segment brought to you by our very good friends over at Terrell Technical Services Incorporated. They offer that full line of industrial hygiene, asbestos, mold, and bacterial services, Legionella testing, water management plans, lead-based paint inspection assessments and abatement plans, environmental site assessments, LEED certified air testing, and more. Their staff holds all U.S. EPA accreditations and nationally recognized certifications and credentials to necessitate your project to completion. Give Terrell Technical Services a call today at 256-461-9278 to discuss your environmental health or safety needs. Again, those are the good folks over at Terrell Technical Services Incorporated. And when we went to break in hour number 1 there, Drew, we were talking about Tennessee and head coach Josh Heupel. And Josh Heupel was on a national program and was talking about everything Tennessee football and was asked about his quarterbacks and his offense and what's it going to look like in the spring. Here's Josh Heupel on his expectations for the offense after spring football going into the fall.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think offensively, it's always about who are the personnel, right, that's competing at a championship level. They got to earn the right to be on the field, but what is the personnel makeup of who you are, right? That's wide receivers, that's tight ends, that's running backs. It's your offensive line too, right? And so knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, asking your players to do things that they can be successful at. That's schematically, it's fundamentally in technique as well. And then it's the positions and the matchups that you put them in during the course of a ball game on Saturday afternoon. We're going to be different than we were at the previous 2 stops because our personnel is different, right? And we're going to find a trigger guy and match that with the personnel that we have outside and at our skill spots to give us the best opportunity to be successful. You find out a lot during 15 practices in spring ball, but man, there's still so much growth that happens. And that's, why you don't come out of spring ball with a set depth chart is because, May, June, and July, your players have an opportunity to completely change who they are physically. All right. Mentally, they have an opportunity to digest everything that's happened and become a completely different player by the time they get to training camp or by kickoff, man. Their alignment sound, right? They have their eyes in the right place. They anticipate, they read things completely different at the quarterback position, but at 21 other spots on the football field too. And so you got to let kids go through that growth pattern.
Interesting stuff from Josh Heupel, no doubt.
All right. And then he did give a message to Tennessee Vols fans basically on the fact that they haven't had a lot of success, so to speak, as of late. And what would be his message? Well, here's his message.
Yeah, I think my experience as a football player shapes my perspective on who we are and where we're at today. And I say that I went to Oklahoma being recruited. That was a program at that time that hadn't been to a bowl game for 5 straight years. There was some uncertainty and negativity that surrounded that program. And I say that as a positive, meaning that just like here at Tennessee, man, passion, they care, they want to live it, breathe it, eat it 365 days out of the year. That's why I wanted to be at Tennessee. This is a special program. This is one of the greatest traditions in college football. Top 10 in wins, top 10 in NFL draft picks. Anything you want to do can and has been done here and is going to be done again. You know what I mean? And I know we got a long ways to go from where we're at today. Our staff and our players are going to fight and compete to get there every single day. And excited that we get a chance to embark on that journey here, man. And I consider it a privilege to be the caretaker of Tennessee football at this time. I want our fan base to jump on board. And I know part of that's a product on the field. But the passion and energy that surrounds our program has a huge impact on our recruiting, has a huge impact on our players. Let's go do this thing together, man, and have some fun.
Josh Heupel, Tennessee head coach.
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to get everybody to row the boat in the same direction. That's been Tennessee's problem for a long time. There hasn't been harmony since the salad days of Philip Fulmer, which basically ended in the early 2000s.
Right.
It started to peter out once Alabama he had a small resurgence after Alabama won in 2002. They won in 2003 and 2004, but then lost in 2005, and then won in 2006, and then Darth Vader came to town and basically caved in their heads for many, many years now. So that it's been and I think Philip Fulmer had Alabama in his back pocket, dominated Alabama for much of his tenure because Alabama had a lot of dysfunction. And, he couldn't beat Steve Spurrier consistently, but he beat Alabama. And he was still in the top 10 in the country. He won a national championship, which got him a lot of equity there in 98. And so, he finally ran out on him, after a long tenure. But still, that's really, they have not had that kind of harmony since then. And even then, it was tumultuous because you had to go from Johnny Majors, who's an icon at Tennessee, to Philip Fulmer. That wasn't smooth the way that was handled. But still, that's the last time Tennessee's been consistently good. And they've made some bad hires. There's no doubt about it in football. But it's going to be interesting to see what Josh Heupel can do because he's definitely more of an offensive guy. Butch Jones was as well. But, Heupel's really more of a guy Butch Jones was still more of an old school, run the football kind of coach and be physical. Josh Heupel, that's not his style. He wants to throw it around. He wants to score a lot of points. He wants to have some swagger. It's going to be interesting to see if he can recruit well enough and attract recruits with that kind of football. And really that's what everybody's doing. But can you win enough games to get the difference makers you need? And so that's what's going to be the key for Tennessee. Certainly, what the first goal they've got to set for themselves is to get back up in the upper echelon of the Eastern Division. In other words, make it a three-way dance each year between Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee.
Is the rest of the league better when Tennessee is better, or is that one of the things where we make too much about that, saying, well, the rest of the SEC is good if this team is good. But Is the rest of the league better when Tennessee is better?
I would
Or
think
is it
so.
when Florida and Georgia are better that
Well,
the rest
no,
of
I
the
think
East is
the
better?
SEC will be better if Tennessee's good, and Tennessee makes the division more competitive. And if Mark Stoops continues to rise Kentucky's program, are they going to be consistent every year? Is this offensive transition going to work? The SEC is always better when you have more competition. No question about it.
Right.
And when there's not, I know Alabama's dominated lately, but LSU's had their time where they won national championships. Auburn has too. So the Western Division has kind of beaten down the East lately since Urban Meyer decided to cut and run because Nick Saban was whipping his ass. But I do think it all goes in cycles. If the Eastern Division is strengthened by Tennessee being good, it's better for college football.
All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and you can get in on the show now. Hour number 2 is officially underway. Just to recap, hour number 1, we were talking about teams that in the college football landscape that you think are not getting mentioned, teams that could be maybe getting mentioned about being possible, maybe not winning the national championship, but teams that we're leaving out. Maybe a team that can win 8 wins, 9 wins, surprise somebody outside of the normal 5 or 6 or 7 that we constantly talk about. Is there a team there that we should be mentioning? 256-576-4977.
Well, you know how much fun we've had with Pro Football Focus at times when we were told that Georgia dominated Alabama. And
yes, Seth Galina, the writer of that article.
500 yards. But they came up with another one yesterday, and Alabama safety DeMarco Hellams had a very interesting response to it.
Yes.
It said the top 5 edge defenders returning in college football, according to Pro Football Focus.
Brandon
Said number 1, Oklahoma, Nick Bonito. Number 2, Oregon, Kayvon Thibodeau. Great player. He might be. I've already seen Mel Kiper, I think, have him number 1 pick in the draft next year.
Okay.
Number 3, scored a touchdown against Alabama. Not a touchdown. I think he ran it back inside the 5. Defensive lineman DeMarvin Leal, defensive end for Texas A&M. He is number 3. Number 4, Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. And number 5, Majay Sanders from Cincinnati. And the outstanding response from DeMarco Hellams, returning safety for the University of Alabama, he goes, "Did Will Anderson and Chris Allen quit football?" In other words, hello?
Oh.
They're the best tandem in the country. Will Anderson can play with any of those guys. Wake up, fellas. But I just thought that was humorous from DeMarco Hellams.
Pro Football Focus. They're back at it again.
And the NCAA is back at it again too, Scott.
Oh, that's going to be tomorrow's headlines, though. We got to save that one for tomorrow's headlines.
I just saw that. That's.
I've got that one already. It was all ready to go for tomorrow's headlines because that is one that coming up at 7:45. Make sure you tune in to tomorrow's headlines because the NCAA is back at it again. We love.
Well,
the
he means
NCAA.
8:45, but I know we need to go back to Brandon.
We do.
On the
You're right. It would be 8:45 on it. Yeah.
What's up, Brandon?
The cockroach that is Rush Probst lives.
That's what. Yes, we had teased Rush Probst here coming in.
What's going on over there? You live in Georgia. How can this happen?
So here's the report that came out yesterday. For those that don't know, the according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Valdosta City Schools confirmed to the newspaper they are going to meet to revisit Rush Probst's contract non-renewal and potentially reconvene following the Springs 5-3 to vote to remove the coach from his
what must
position.
be going on? He must have Will Wade's lawyer.
Rush Probst could be back with Valdosta High School. How?
Well, guys. First off, Valdosta's got a $750,000 problem where they fired Rodemaker, potentially because he wasn't the right color. That's what he says, and they're looking at settling that lawsuit. Second off, when you take a look at what went on, they can't get anybody to take the job. My neighbor down the street coached there. He was an assistant coach. They called him. He was tagged in every Facebook post in the world talking about They need to go to Rome, Georgia to get their next coach. But the third thing you need to look at is they chose not to renew Rush's contract.
Right.
What does Rush have on some people down there that could make it really bad for them considering what they've done? I mean, word is he got money to pay off back due child support for people to get custody of kids to move in to live in apartments. It sounds pretty mucky and miry to me, and it might just be cheaper to keep him and ride it out versus throwing more dirt on the program.
I don't know, but when I saw this and I was like, they are going to reconvene and revisit his contract non-renewal, I was like,
Brandon, though, here's the crazy part. Did you see who's taking them through spring practice while Rush has been, in limbo?
I did not. I did not pay attention.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Lord. Shelton Felton.
Oh, wow.
Former outside linebackers coach at Tennessee who got fired for McDonald's bags. I'm just saying. He was caught up with Rob Niedermeyer in the middle of that. Are you kidding me?
He might have gave McDonald's bags to the right people. That's
Oh.
why he's coming back. You never know.
But
you guys were talking.
Go ahead, brother.
I said you guys earlier were talking about who's going to make noise in college football.
Yeah.
I think Nebraska's going to make some noise for about 3 weeks when they play Illinois, Fordham, and Buffalo. And then they're going to take a turn down P.J. Carlissimo Street and choke their brains out because they're going to play Oklahoma, Michigan State, Northwestern, Michigan, Minnesota, Purdue, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Iowa. So they might win their first 3 games and go winless at the back half of the schedule.
and if they do that, I mean, Nebraska is one of these teams, Drew, that we mention all the time.
I mean, when are they coming back? They're
Scott
another
Frost could be in trouble if they are dismal this year.
I
Scott
can't
Frost
believe
could
that
be
they
in
haven't
trouble
been
again.
able to get any traction in the Big Ten. It just is stunning to me how bad they've been. I mean,
They have a national championship winning coach, and then they struggle.
man. Maybe in Bizarro world or in the the Wizard of Oz was actually real. But I mean, still, the
NCAA recognizes it.
But Nebraska, I mean, you're talking about one of the all-time great programs.
Yep.
And they have they cannot gain any traction in the Big Ten to the point where Desmond Howard makes fun of them, even though they've won more national championships than the Michigan Wolverines. The Wolverines have won more games historically, but hell, they can't beat Ohio State right now to save their lives. But I just can't believe how I thought, well, first of all, Nebraska should have stayed in the Big 12 to me.
Absolutely.
But because they lost a lot of natural rivalries, but I've been surprised. Maybe Scott Frost, it's taken longer than I guess people thought, but maybe he can finally get them on a positive, going in a positive direction.
Well, other than playing Purdue and Northwestern, which could possibly be one of those two could be a top 25 team, 6 out of 8 weeks, you're going to play a top 25 team to end the season, and you've got maybe 3 gimmies in there. And I just don't understand why you would want to leave the conference you were in to come play this every year and be Ohio State's doormat, I would say Michigan's doormat, but they're a doormat themselves sometimes. But you're going to be Ohio State's doormat. You're probably going to get beat by Michigan, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's probably going to put 70 on.
I mean, the most successful coach, Brandon, that they've had is really – and he just got fired at LSU. Bo Pelini won more games at Nebraska than anyone has since Frank Solich, who should have never been fired in the first place.
Yeah, because 10-2 wasn't good enough.
Right. Well, F.
Well, I'm just going to put my early prediction in that Nebraska wins 3 football games this year, and they go winless from week 4 on. And I think that the Fighting Hawkeyes, the Fighting Tyson, I'll take them in that final game to beat to beat Nebraska by 35.
Wow.
I think it's the Heartland Trophy. I think that's what they play for. I think it's Iowa. No, I think it's the Heartland Trophy. Or that may be one. I mean, I know that Iowa plays for 3 trophies a year. They play one against Iowa State. Well, they play one against, I think it's 4 now. They play once against Iowa State for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. They play for the Floyd of Rosedale for Minnesota. They play for one against Wisconsin, and they play for a trophy against Northwestern. So I forget what the Northwestern trophy is, but it's for one of the trophies. I forget which one, because it's relatively new. It's only since Nebraska has joined the Big Ten. That's how they started playing for that. But thanks for the call, Brandon.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, thank you. Just know if nuclear winter comes, Rush Probst will survive.
Yeah, Rush Probst is like a cockroach. I mean, he literally.
I think he's like Wayne Fonts. He's like Rasputin. He just never goes away. He's one hell of a coach, but I mean, I'm just saying it would be the damnedest movie that could ever be made.
Oh, Patrick Harding on Twitter, Drew.
Yeah.
Apparently, he joined us from his classroom.
Oh, he did. The phone was definitely ringing.
Yeah, he says via Twitter, someone let me know if you can hear my classroom phone ring. The Pledge of Allegiance or the student who came to my desk to ask a question during the interview.
Well, I definitely heard the phone ringing. I can tell you that.
You can listen to Patrick Harding's interview after the show. We will put it on 977ESPN.com. It'll be under featured interviews, and you'll be able to go there and hear Patrick Harding's interview right after the show. But we need to get our break in, because when we come back, we're going to talk college football, more in particular recruiting in college football.
Yes, Keith Niebuhr going to join us. Auburn Undercover.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. We've got inbound traffic building steadily all across the valley. So far, it looks like a pretty good ride in. We're not finding any wrecks or stalls or traffic signal problems. You be careful. Try to get out that door early if you can. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. And a quick shout out to my son, Avery Seaton, number 19. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including our all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and the sporting new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in the Kia. Go Mustangs!
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. Still a place to call for your installation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatedwitheagle.com. and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Keith, ready? Here we go.
All right, 8:25 on a Thursday morning. Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And we've been talking a little bit of everything today, but we're going to go back to college football. And we told you in the first hour that Auburn was going to get some big big recruiting news, and I mean big, not far as like name-wise, but like size-wise, big recruiting news. But then it comes out a little bit ago that they're also in conversations, and I don't know how far along they are. That our next guest can help us. But LSU transfer quarterback TJ Finley.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and who's better to be on top of all of it than the recruiting reporter for Auburn Undercover and 24/7 Sports? He's been a tremendous ally to our show and a frequent guest. It's been a while since we've had him on because the recruiting cycle kind of slowed down a little bit, but now it's cranking back up due to the transfer portal, due to June 1st rapidly approaching when the dead period is finally over. But we are going to talk to our good friend Keith Niebuhr next on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Keith, welcome back to Huntsville with Drew and Scott. Always great to speak with you. Good morning.
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
How are you doing? And first of all, great stuff, what you've done lately, covering the Tony Fair situation. Talk about that to our listeners who Auburn, they you know what the saying is now, that the transfer portal taketh, but it also giveth. And now Auburn losing Jay Hardy and Jaron Handy, but then they get a huge piece of the puzzle now, an experienced guy that they added yesterday.
Yeah, Jay Hardy, a tackle, defensive tackle, entered the portal a week or so ago to leave Auburn. But not only that, Jeremiah Wright, who was probably penciled in as a starter at tackle, tore his ACL this spring, and that means he's up in the air. His status is uncertain for the fall. So they needed help at defensive tackle, needed at very least depth, and at the very most, somebody that can really contribute. And they think they found both in Tony Fair. Spent 2 years at UAB and comes in. He kind of was a nose guard, at UAB, big kid, 6'3", 345, 350 in that range. But he's going to lose some weight a little bit, and they'll probably play him in multiple spots at Auburn. Very productive first season at UAB, not a super productive second season. Actually said in an interview he did with me the other day, kind of had a falling out with the defensive line coach there. And so he was looking for a fresh start anyway. Interesting story though. He's 25 years old, which is crazy because, he started his college career, like 6-7 years ago at Indiana State, and he had some concussion issues. So he was medically disqualified by Indiana State, but got a new start at Pima Community College out in Tucson. And that kind of jump-started things all over again. So he's looking forward to a fresh start at Auburn and getting coached by Nick Eason, Auburn's new D-line coach, who had been the defensive line coach with the Cincinnati Bengals the last few years, whose specialty, by the way, I should say, is defensive tackles. I've talked to some people that train NFL linemen, and they say, no, this guy's really good. His what's the word I'm looking for? Forte,
yeah,
I guess.
His specialty, yeah.
Defensive tackles, yeah. Working with defensive tackles. So it all seemed to work out. This guy had a desire to play against the best. He even pointed out, he said, I want to play against Alabama. I can do that out in Auburn. And Auburn had a need, so it was kind of a match made in heaven.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, Coach Harsin has been very busy in the transfer portal trying to get some guys to shore up along that defensive side.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, here's the thing. You say in football, you build a program, not a team. And a lot of people's complaints, I guess, about the way Gus Malzahn ran things, it seemed like they were piecemealing together teams at times. In other words, just kind of plugging in place and transfers and things like that. And, missing on some key recruits, but just filling in the holes. You look at the offensive line, perfect example, not very good recruiting an offensive tackle, but they would use the transfer market to kind of fill in some of the gaps. And so, each year that works for you, but long-term, is it sustainable? But now the way the portal is with the one-time transfer rule, why not? Why not take advantage of it? You're a new staff, and when you have a new staff, you always have a lot of transition, which means guys are coming and the guys are going and mainly going. You're losing guys. You're losing guys who don't like where they sit on the depth chart, may not be comfortable with a new staff. A new staff may not want them around. So you lose more guys than usual. It happens everywhere. You see it all the time. But with this portal, with this transfer portal and grad transfers being able to play right away, and now the one-time transfer rule that says anybody can play right away, one time, it allows Auburn to reassess things after spring practice and look at the overall needs and wants and say, okay, well, you got X amount of spots. Let's go out and get some guys and try to improve right now. And so, and then build for the future recruiting wise. But right now, you could sit back and be content with what you have, or you could say, well, you know what? We've got 6-7 spots that are available. Let's use them and let's try to be better right now. And that seems to be the plan. Now we'll see. You don't know how it's going to work out, but look, they've got they went through spring practice. They've been able to assess all their needs, where the key needs are on defense in terms of where you need depth. And that's the most crucial thing in the SEC, depth. Everybody's got good starters, okay? But what are you going to do late in the season when you've got injuries? You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Do you have enough guys that can play? That's what they're trying to find right now.
No doubt. And then I know you hinted at it because there seems to be new guys going in the portal every day. But with Alabama ties, Kansas defensive lineman Marcus Harris goes into the portal, and you believe Auburn will be a factor there as well.
Yeah, him and then another kid from Montgomery, Keyshawn Brown, who went to Texas A&M. They both signed 2 years ago. They both redshirted 2 years ago. Last year, Brown at Texas A&M, through contract tracing, he never got COVID from what I'm told, but through contact tracing, he kept having to miss games. And finally he just said, man, this is just too frustrating. Why don't I just opt out? The uncertainty was killing him. So he opted out. Now he's in the portal looking for a change. But, former 4-star recruit out of Montgomery who's, really didn't play at Texas A&M. But for a program like Auburn that needs linebackers and wanted to sign, multiple linebackers this past cycle, but didn't. Gosh, this guy's got 4 years left. He can come in. He's a pretty talented guy. He signed with an SEC program, so he might be able to help you out there. Harris didn't, obviously, at Kansas, did not play his first year redshirted, bulked up, got bigger, stronger, faster, all that, and then went out in his last fall and had a really good year for Kansas. Now, Kansas was terrible, god-awful, obviously. That's the struggling program that doesn't have a ton of talent. This was one of the shining stars. He's from Montgomery, too. And, strong side end, 6'5", 250, again, another need position. A strong side end, that generally means you can play that guy in a few different spots. The variety of, look, it's one position, but I'm saying, but with his size, you might be able to play him in a couple of different roles. And again, you got to have depth on the defensive line. So we look for Auburn. We think Auburn's the team to beat for both those guys. When might they make a final decision? Who knows? But one of them, the Harris kid from Kansas, just entered the portal yesterday. So he may want to take his time. Brown's been in the portal for a couple of weeks, but we like Auburn's chances with both those guys right now. Now, look, things are always subject to change. There's things that could pop up. Maybe a guy needs to take one more course. Maybe he has a change of heart. Maybe he gets an offer from another school that he didn't think he was going to get. So things do change, but right now we like where things are headed with those two guys for Auburn.
Yeah, and then the other big news, I guess, that's coming about, and I guess it's just continuing to develop, is Auburn's pursuit of quarterback LSU transfer TJ Finley. Are they heavily trying to pursue him, Keith, or is this one of these things where you make the flyer and give him a call just to see his intentions?
Yeah, that's one. And by the way, I'm extremely tired today because I was up late last night trying to get that scoop, and we got it. And
absolutely.
Reporting is about, it's not just, you're not trained monkeys. You can go to press conferences and get stuff, but when you can get some scoop, that's when you feel that you're doing your job for your readers. So I was happy about that one. So let me brag for 2 seconds there. But yeah, this guy, look, LSU's quarterback situation last year was really funky. They had 3 guys play. Miles Brennan started the season and then got hurt. And then they had 2 true freshmen, one of them TJ Finley, the other, the Max Johnson. And so TJ Finley came in, played 6 games, started 5, went, I think, 2-3. LSU struggled, obviously, on defense. Was not terrible on offense. Put up respectable numbers, played against the meat of the schedule. But then at the end of the year, they put in Max Johnson, and he won a couple of games. And you could argue that he might have done the best of the 3. So they go into spring practice with 3 capable quarterbacks, and you knew that wasn't going to be the case coming out of spring. You knew all 3 of them weren't going to stay. TJ Finley decides to leave. Big kid, 6'5", 6'6". He says, I got a hold of him last night, says he talked to a lot of schools, Alabama, Ohio State, Mississippi State, basically the whole SEC. Now, I don't know
I'm not in the. I don't know where he would sit on the boards with all those programs. Maybe some of them might have just been casual conversations just to feel him out a little bit. Other ones might have been full throttle. Let's get this guy. I can't tell you who was who, but I do know that with Auburn, you don't have much behind Bo Nix. Auburn goes into this season right now with what they have right now with only 3 scholarship quarterbacks: Bo Nix, Grant Loy, who's in his last year, and then Demetrius Davis, who's a true freshman. So, ideally, that's not a lot. Ideally you'd want 4 scholarship quarterbacks. So TJ Finley says, "Hey, I've been told I can come in and compete for a job." They don't have much depth or experience behind Bo Nix. Quarterback room's thin. He said, I wouldn't be going there to be a backup. He said, I'd be going in there to compete for the starting job. Well, maybe that's what Auburn needs, and maybe that's what Bo Nix needs. Bo Nix is very comfortable right now. Who's going to push him for this year or next year? Nobody, probably, right? So this kid, he's got starting experience in the SEC. He might be able to come in and push Bo, and maybe Bo doesn't handle it well. Maybe he does handle it well. But competition, most coaches will tell you want competition at every position, especially quarterback. It's good to know for a kid to know he's the guy, but he also has to know that if he doesn't perform well, there's somebody behind him that is capable as well. But also if he gets hurt, right? If he gets hurt, and let's be honest, Auburn's offensive line is not a strength. And you worry every time you see Bo scrambling back there. And he also likes to run a lot, guys. He doesn't just scramble, he runs, and he does all this stuff that leaves his body kind of open to getting hurt. So this could be a potentially significant development for Auburn. We'll see. For TJ Finley, he's going to probably start narrowing things down next week and then have a decision in a few weeks. So you can go read his quotes at Auburn Undercover if you're interested.
Absolutely. And then, Keith, I know you're also Auburn is seeming to aggressively attack the portal as far as for defensive backs. We strongly believe, though, that they lead for Vanderbilt safety Donovan Kaufman.
Well, I think he's kind of taking his time, but Auburn has felt pretty good about that one. He's a safety. He's more of a strong safety type, 5'9", 190 pounds, in that range. They're also working on another kid, and this one popped up yesterday, by Darius Knighton, which is real. I've never heard that name before, by Darius, but great young guy. I had so much fun talking to him. He has spent 5 years at Southeast Missouri State. You're thinking, okay, how could a guy at Southeast Missouri State be good enough for the SEC? But man, I'm telling you guys, I don't know whether the guy can play or not. I'm not an evaluator. And his stats say he can. The fact he's been all conference in the Ohio Valley Conference and All American, all that says he can play. But you look at the NFL rosters, and these teams, when they announce the starting lineups at the Super Bowl, aren't you always amazed at how many small school guys are on those rosters? I mean, Nick Collins, guy that I covered way back in the day, Cross City, Florida. Okay, I mean, he ended up being with the Bethune-Cookman, ended up being the Super Bowl MVP for the Green Bay Packers one year, and nobody wanted that guy. It's absolutely amazing how many guys are like that. So now with this portal and the 1 year the grad transfer situation, or being able to just transfer and play anywhere, you're seeing a lot of these guys leave and then show up at major programs. So by Darius Knighton is the guy that can play strong safety. So even if you get this Donovan Kaufman kid from Vanderbilt, you'd like to have another guy there. I mean, they don't have much depth in the secondary, and he can play nickel. So this is a guy that can give you maybe start at one of these positions, but at the very least compete for a starting job at both, and maybe at the most start at one and is your number 2 at the other. I mean, guys get hurt during the course of the year, man. So people say, okay, if you get Kaufman, you're set at strong safety. Well, if you weren't set before you got him, you wouldn't necessarily be set with him, because that's just one more guy. Guys get hurt. I mean, there's some major drop-offs on a lot of programs between the first string and the second string. And what you do as this coaching staff is you try to eliminate it, or try to reduce the amount of drop-off there is. You know what I'm saying? Like, they say you want to have 7 or 8 offensive linemen that can play. Well, if you only got 5 that can play and one guy or 2 guys get hurt, holy cow, you're in trouble. So you're trying to really reduce the amount of drop-off you have. So by Darius Knight, another guy, and I should point out, we got him pretty early yesterday, but I think one of the competing sites has gotten him since Auburn offered. And they think they say Auburn leads, and I don't doubt that at all. But we think it's going to be. I think it's going to be an Auburn or Mississippi State battle. He's initially from Tunica, Mississippi, which is just south of Memphis, where all the casinos are up there. So he wants to stay close to home and play in the SEC. So there's a lot going on, man, right now. If these guys are all from programs that aren't exactly football powerhouses here, but even those programs generally have a few guys that are in the NFL. And now, I'm not saying these are the guys. If you're an Auburn fan, you're hoping these are the guys, right? You're hoping that you're going to get the steals, that you're going to get the true finds and all that. And that comes to evaluations, let's be honest. So we'll see.
It's almost like recruiting has taken 2 seasons now. You
Yeah.
got the National Signing Day part, and now you have the post recruiting part, which is all transfers and all that other stuff.
Well, remember one thing on some of these older guys.
Yeah.
NFL teams have giant scouting departments, and they have bird dogs across the country. They know about these guys. And when they know about them, it makes it a little bit easier for an Auburn team to know about them. So Nick Eason, for example, Auburn's D-line coach, he coached in the NFL. He can call up some of his old friends in the NFL and say, all right, give me some guys from some of these smaller schools that we've never heard of, but that you guys know all about.
Wow.
And I'm not saying Auburn is the cheat code, that.
No,
I'm not saying Auburn
no, not at all.
than everybody else, but that's how it works. I mean, how else are you going to find out about a guy at Southeast Missouri State if you're at Auburn? Yes, some other schools offered him, and that might have opened your eyes. But also, again, these guys are on early draft lists. They're guys at the NFL. The NFL's always watching. They've always got their eyes on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guys. So, we'll see how it works out for Auburn. You got to get them first. You got to get them on campus. And then, that's quite a jump up in competition, let's say, from Southeast Missouri State or Kansas to an Auburn, right? And so there's some that period of time where you have to get acclimated to everything around you, speed of the game, the speed of the competition, all that, just the overall ability of the competition. If you've played at Southeast Missouri State, you've never gone up against the George Pickens or a Jalen Waddle, I'm guessing, right? So I mean, it's there's a lot going on. There's a lot involved here.
What's the 2020 though? The high school recruiting looking like right now for Brian Harsin?
Yeah, 2021.
Oh, 2022, the current class. I mean, it's hard to say. It's so early. I mean, a lot of schools have a lot of commitments, but then a lot of them don't have that many commitments. And
right.
It's funny because Gus Malzahn's classes were always slow starting, but they had Big Cat Weekend in late May or early June to fall back on, and they always seem to get a lot of momentum out of that. And we don't know. We don't know whether this staff is going to hit home runs on recruiting visits, on campus visits that start up June 1st or not. We don't know. I mean, they might. I'm not saying they won't, but we don't know. We don't have any point of reference. It's a blank canvas, so we don't know. But they've got 3 commitments right now, and so many kids. Gosh, over 20 kids have locked in official visits for June. That's when it's really going to start to kind of take shape. I mean, again, this staff is new. And they haven't met any of these kids face to face. So I mean, it's a whole new world here, and everything's been done through Zoom calls and FaceTime and all that. But meeting a kid in person is so significant. Getting them on campus, letting them see what Auburn's all about and what their vision of Auburn is. Staff, they have to now sell that in person. And so I would imagine June, July, you're going to see things starting to pick up a little bit. But it's going to be a slow build, and when you make a coaching change, especially in a year like this where you haven't had kids on campus, this was to be expected. I've been saying this from day one. We had people on our message board saying top 5 class. And I mean, good Lord, top 5 class. You're not going to have anybody on campus for at least 6 months from the day you were hired. And this is not how it works, guys. This is going to take a lot of patience on the behalf of the fans, but also the staff. I mean, obviously, they'd like to have 12 commitments right now, too. But here's the thing. They're going to have camp season in June, too. So they're going to be able to do some in-person evaluations. Well, how many years, guys, do you go into the spring and an Alabama or an Auburn board looks one way, and you come out of spring ball May and June where you're able to get on the road, look at guys, and then in June they come in camp. And after that, the board looks completely different because the guy that's listed as 6'3" is really 5'11". He's not as fast in short space. So many things change when you see people in person. Film is great. Don't get me wrong. Film's awesome. But you need those in-person evaluations as a staff to really, really, really get to know what a kid can and can't do and whether he fits what you're looking for.
Great stuff from Keith Niebuhr. Auburn still adding pieces to 2021, but as he said, 2022 will be off and rolling when camp season starts in June. Keith, we always appreciate the time. Great job with Tony Fair. There was nobody, you were on top of that so much. TJ Finley as well, up late breaking that intel, but let everybody know how to connect with you.
Yeah, just go to auburnundercover.com. There's a lot going on. There's stuff popping up every day. Transfer recruits, they tend to pop up out of nowhere. Okay, high school kids, you see the offer, they all tweet it. They visit, but boy, these transfers, man, these things happen fast and they happen out of the middle of nowhere, and that's the next week's going to be interesting.
It really will. Thank you, man. We really appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Anytime. Take care, guys.
All right, Keith Niebuhr with us, Auburn recruiting update. Let's get our final break in. When we come back, tomorrow's headlines today and the NCAA on the burner.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. We've got inbound traffic building steadily all across the valley. So far, it looks like a pretty good ride in. We're not finding any wrecks or stalls or traffic signal problems. You be careful. Try to get out that door early if you can. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there. Woody Anderson Ford.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
You know that there are some words that have really messed up our world. The devil, way back in Genesis, said, has God really said? Unfortunately, we often listen to those words of the devil. We question God's word. We often doubt God's goodness, and we make a mess for ourselves and so many others. Hey, let's honor the word of God for what it is. It is God's word. Let's follow it and be blessed by it. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com. We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want that money!
You know.
Well, this is one of the most gut-wrenching.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right.
Time keeps on slipping into
All right. So if you follow Talking Ball at all, we invite you to do so weekdays, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9. We have a certain love-dislike relationship with the NCAA on this show when it comes to certain matters. Well, this headline is not going to get a lot of big, prominent headlines across America. It's really not.
MORONS. What's that spell?
But it should. And here is why. The women's golf regional was taking place in Baton Rouge, Louisiana over this past week. And the top 6 teams qualify to head to the NCAA tournament. Now, there were other golf regionals across the country.
Yes.
And they were all gotten in. They all were played. Well, we all know in Louisiana in the past few days, it has rained. They've gotten a lot of rain. And they were playing this at LSU's University Club golf course. They were all ready to go. They were all ready to be played. Well, it rained a lot. And there are pictures that have surfaced of the golf course, yesterday's golf course. There was some water on the course, yes, but it looked magnificent. Well, the NCAA came out and made an announcement, and in their words, the golf course was playable, but not at a championship level because of all the rain. So they canceled the whole entire tournament after having everybody there. Golfers from the teams were like very upset. Very, very upset. There was no water on the greens. The golf course looked even better than it did the day before, golfers were saying. Like nobody can understand why the NCAA made this move. The committee member, and here's the audio that was recorded from the announcement.
So this is one of the most gut-wrenching decisions and announcements that I've ever been a part of. Even though the course is playable, it's not playable at a championship level. Therefore, top 6 teams proceeded to advance to top 3 divisions. Heart-wrenching decision that we had to make. And of course, it's playable. It's playable. It's playable. This is what we play. Yes. Are you serious? You should be ashamed of yourself. That is so terrible. Thank you for ending our careers. Thank you, seniors.
Those are golfers that were yelling
I
back.
don't blame them. They should keep yelling at the guy. They should say, "Excuse me, sir, go to the tattoo parlor around the corner and just put it across your forehead. MORON. Moron. It's not at a championship level. What the hell is that? How do you decide that? You know what's not at a championship level? The NC double dumb. That's what's not at a championship level. These jackasses don't even know what they're doing. They're totally inept. They ought to send these ladies to another course and then play it. How stupid is that? I almost had to have him hit the dump button. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. It's not at a championship level. Then explain what that is, clown. You probably can't. Idiot. That's the problem in this country now. Nothing gets done. It's all a bunch of BS. I mean, come on. What a joke. He probably had gas in a plastic bag.
That was good. That was good. So the top 6 teams automatically advance without playing. LSU, Ole Miss, Baylor, Oregon, Maryland, and Alabama do advance to the national tournament, to the national championships. But as you can imagine, I mean, a lot of angst among these golfers because last year they didn't even get to compete.
No, and now you're telling them it rained too much, so we think it's not at a championship level. I would ask the guy, do you spell golf with a J? And think it's pronounced with a G. Are you that stupid?
Oh, we told you we were going to have some NCAA news, and we sure did.
I mean, good grief. That's like an Adam Sandler bit. from one of his movies.
Yeah, and the video that we tried to play, I mean, I know the audio wasn't very loud and everything, but I mean, it was heartbreak. I mean, the girls were crying, they were upset, they were mad.
Feel for those young ladies.
Yeah,
because you're being told the golf course is playable, but you have a moron come out there and say, "Oh, this is so gut wrenching," but it's just not at a championship level. Though I probably never played golf in my life, and I don't know what the hell that would be. But they're going to tell me to say something like that because we all don't want to deal with it anyway because we're lazy pieces of trash that don't know how to do our jobs. I mean, give me a break. Freaking bureaucratic idiots.
But Mark Emmert got his voice of approval, or he got his approval. So we're going to keep Mark Emmert in there for a while.
He'll probably wake up tomorrow and see his shadow and come up with some stupid story or just deflection, start talking about release some statement about the college football playoff and how it needs to change, some stupid like that. Or, wait a minute. We need 30% capacity for the regional because Dr. Dummy left me a voicemail and told me the world's ending.
That in reference to the fact that if you right now have full attendance for your baseball college teams like LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Tennessee,
and Russellville. I mean, it was everybody. It was just so horrible last night. You know what I'm saying? We just couldn't. I mean, I'm sure we would have been told half these people need to go home. Get a clue.
Yes, because the NCAA will. So, I feel bad for Mississippi State, Mississippi State, Tennessee. They probably will host NCAA regionals when it comes to college baseball. And if you were paying attention yesterday, yes, they have full attendance. They are open for business fully when it comes to college baseball. But come tournament time, the NCAA is telling them you can only have 50% capacity because that is the NCAA mandate on that. So that is why Drew was making reference to that.
The problem is Emmert and the rest of the idiots probably think it's 2020 still. They didn't realize we have a new year here, and they probably haven't come out of the bunker to see that there's vaccines out there. So they're just too stupid to understand what's going on. As usual, they're an hour late, or they're too busy trying to discern how much water's on a golf course to decide that it's not at a championship level. So we shouldn't have played out at Falcon Crest last week, guys. Shouldn't have happened. It wasn't at a championship level because the wind blew. We should have never played over there because it was too difficult with the wind blowing. You can't play. And then when it rained and it was foggy, we shouldn't have stopped it either. They probably should have just canceled the whole tournament because we just couldn't possibly play according to these idiots. Gotta love the leadership in this country right now. It's absolutely horrific.
There's not much more we can go from there. I mean, that is everything there, and it's a shame. But I believe Michaela Morard, part of that Alabama golf team,
yes,
will be playing at least there. Auburn does advance as well. They were playing at another golf regional. And they got to play, though. It was at a championship level.
No wind, absolutely great conditions.
All right.
We want to thank Patrick Harding for joining us. We will podcast that interview. We want to thank Keith Niebuhr, all the phone calls. What a great show until the end when we had to talk about MORONS, morons, the NCAA. Yet another award for them.
You should spell that one out. NCAAMORONS.
Pathetic. Bizarre. Chad blocked me at 10 o'clock. I will be out at Baumhauer's with West Neighbors tonight. Steve Molson.
10 seconds.
Appearance. Everybody tune in. Go Mustangs as they play
No, it's Go Mustangs.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans,